Yeah, awesome, awesome. So, right, let's do the epic welcome again.
The epic welcome again. Twice the welcome.
Totally.
Woo! Thank you.
This is by far one of my favorite parts for sure.
That's quite a long welcome. I feel like I should take a bow.
Oh, awesome. Now, starting with the whole interview now, tell me how your passion for acting started.
It started a long time ago when I was very little. My mom was an actress. She was a theatre actress. Where I grew up in South Africa. It wasn't really something I considered as a possibility. But, you know, I did drama all in high school and plays. And when I was 16, I got the lead role in a big musical, which was a really big deal. And my screen keeps going dark, so I'm going to have to keep touching the screen. Then I just loved it. And when I was 13, I actually came to America to do like this talent contest. And I did very well. Then I think I just realized that, I mean, I've always loved it, but I realized at some point, you know, I don't think I can go without doing this. I have to do this, just continue doing it. So it feels like not really a choice for me, unfortunately. Yeah. It feels like a bit of a disease, you know.
Now, what were some of the challenges that you had when you started your career?
I don't know if the challenges have really gone away, to be honest. I think it's interesting because when I've had agents, or when I've tried to get agents in the past, you know, I have an agent now, well, I have a few, but when I didn't and I would submit, they would always tell me they didn't know what to do with me. They didn't know what category to put me in or how to market me. And I feel like I was just kind of this in-between category, neither this thing nor this thing. And so that's always kind of been a challenge, this kind of open question mark of how to, you know, as an actor, you kind of have to market yourself. And I've never really known how to do that. And I feel like I still don't really know. Fortunately, the monster thing is one avenue that I discovered. Yeah, I think that's sort of an ongoing challenge for me. And I think maybe another one is just, you know, the inconsistency of work. You know, having work and then not having work for a long time and feeling like, why am I doing this? You know, I might as well give up. And then something will just fall in your lap again, suddenly, out of nowhere, you know? So, I think it's kind of an ongoing thing, and you just kind of have to find some sort of a rhythm within that and kind of accept that that's just a part of life, you know?
Yeah, wow. So since 2005, you have been involved in a lot of projects such as Love Hurts, Creatures of Creation, Chance, Forever, Robiners, Unfaithful Stories of Betrayal, Perspective Treatment, Board of Games, Board of Games, So, I mean, the list goes on and on and on, but tell me, what do you like the most about playing a character?
Well, those are very, very old projects that you mentioned. I think, you know, I never know how to answer that question when people ask, what do you like about acting? Or why do you like it? I just do. It's like, why do you love someone? Because I love them. You know, I don't have a specific answer as to the exact reason why I like jumping into someone else's shoes, you know, but I think, you know, I think it does have a lot to do also with, I guess, kind of feeling what it would be like if, you know, your circumstances were so different that you were living this other person's life, or what makes them tick, or it's a way of also being able to express that sort of, just really express, not necessarily the emotion, but the motivation, understand the motivation behind why someone is the way they are. And I find that really interesting, the psychology of it all. I think actors have to be simultaneously very sensitive and very able to accept the constant rejection. And I think that that combination is interesting when you kind of develop both of those sides of yourself, and then you also develop, you know, the ability to really open yourself up to this character on the page and how they think and why they act the way they act, and, you know, bringing kind of all of your vulnerability and everything you love and everything you hate, and fully sort of living that character and you know, I don't know if that answers the question as to why I like playing different characters or what I like about them, but I think it's just really interesting it's a way of exploring an alternate universe, you know, like a parallel path.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just this, I can talk about it all day. I don't want to bore you, but I don't know if I have an answer that would be one and done, this is the answer. And at the same time, I have so many different things that I like about it that I could, as I say, continue to talk and talk and talk and feel like I still haven't finished what I have to say. So
that's cool. Now, what do you think is the key for a good character creation?
Yeah, I think you can't do justice to someone unless you're sure you're not judging them, and really understanding, as I said, you know, why they act the way they do, what their experiences are and have been. It's like if you were to play like a real person, you know, that existed or exists today, you wouldn't just read the words on the page and act as yourself reading those words. You would have to do a lot of research and understand that person's history, maybe read a biography about them, you know. And I think it's the same thing about with what is the most important thing to make sure you're doing when you're developing a character. It's just you can't judge them, and I think especially it's interesting because you could apply that really just to life today. I think we're so quick to judge other people, and, you know, they don't believe what I believe, obviously they're misled or they're stupid, or no, maybe they just have very different life experiences, and, you know, we're all trying to do the best with what we have, and it's led them to different conclusions than yours, you know, which are equally valid. So I think as an actor, it's interesting to truly try to keep an open mind and not just pay lip service and say that you're keeping an open mind, but really approach a character with no prejudice, which is an interesting thing to do when you're playing monsters as well. Why does this monster eat all these people? You know? So. Yeah,
totally. Wow. Now, on your Instagram, we will see some posts about a TV show, Mira. So tell me about that show and about your character.
Yeah, well, that's no longer the most recent. I have recently done another project, but I won't bring that up right now. That is one of my most recent projects, and I play the character Mira, who's a monster, and so it's a 10-episode show, short episodes, and kind of the big reveal is at the end, where, you know, she's been terrorizing this group of friends that have just, you know, been to the prom, and they're in the big house, you know. Perfect setup for a horror, right? And one is like the douchebag, and one is the very sweet person, and one is the one that's quiet, you know, all of the sort of very typical characters that you would find in a group of friends. And of course, as with every horror movie, they split up to go and figure out what's going on, which is the number one thing that they should not do. And we've learned this time and time again. And yet, every horror movie, they will continue to split up. But of course, that works out well for me, the monster, because that means that I can kill them one at a time. So basically, so you don't necessarily see me in my prosthetic sort of self until later, because I've actually inhabited the lead, and I'm sort of the demon inside of her, so she kind of changes and she's the one killing everyone, she being me. And then she is able to escape from, you know, having me inside of her. And so that's when you see me come out of this Mira, which is where I live, and look for my new home. And so chaos ensues, and she is a non-speaking monster. Her mouth is, she kind of doesn't have a mouth, it's kind of sewed shut, which I think is also interesting, because why does this monster not have a mouth? You know, what does that say? She lost her voice. Why did she lose her voice? Was she not a monster and she became a monster as a result of losing her voice? So many questions. But yeah, that was a super, super fun project, and I was really grateful to be on it. So
yeah, that's awesome. You were also in Don't Watch This. So can you tell me as well about your character in that project?
Yeah, so that was a Netflix Halloween special, and that was actually the same company that did Mira Mira Crypt TV. Who, if they're watching, thank you so much for casting me. I love you guys. But no, Don't Watch This was really exciting, because there were a lot of firsts for me on that. And I got to meet some very cool special effects makeup artists. I know quite a lot of them now. Of course, there's many that I still would love to meet and don't know yet. But that was sort of at the beginning of my journey of playing monsters.
Yeah.
And I got to, again, crawl around and terrorize these two boys that had, well, I shouldn't say boys, young men that had come across this old decrepit house, and you know, and the story goes that I've been, you know, probably living in this house for a long time, and you know, I need a good feed. So
Totally.
it's very lucky for me that my food comes right to me. Yeah, that was really fun.
That's cool. So basically it was like Uber Eats.
Exactly, Uber Eats, except doesn't have to pay. They were free. Yeah,
It was free. So
exactly.
that's what. That's what.
And it was even more fun because I got to play with my food and scare them a little bit, you know.
That's even better. Yeah, that's even better. Yeah. So awesome. Now, from Llora Conmigo to The Girl in the Woods, Pathosis, Space Command, In the Mirrors, tell me, what do you like the most about doing creature work?
That's such a good question. What do I like the most about doing creature work? I love that there are no expectations put on me by society to be, you know, this way or that way, because I'm a monster. I get to choose how I am and who I am.
Totally.
You know, I get to be the boss of me. So I think I really love that. And I kind of love the power a little bit. I like to see the reaction on people's faces when I walk in the room. And I don't know, that's kind of entertaining for me.
Yeah, totally.
One thing I get to do that I don't get to do if I'm, you know, just playing a human is really play with making shapes with my body and just doing strange things, you know, walking in like in an interesting way. And I think one of the challenges of doing creatures is to not make every single monster the same, but find what it is that makes them unique, and again how they got to being where they are, and then really sort of hone in on that and try to emphasize that, you know, in your body, because what you have to communicate is your body. Usually you would be able to speak with your mouth, but as a monster it's all physical. So that's really cool to be able to kind of explore that part of it.
Yeah, totally. And also, I think that you can go all out, and since you're the monster, it's fine. You know,
Exactly.
like it doesn't matter if you scream too much or you like move like in this different way. Like it doesn't matter whatever you do because you're the monster, so it's fine.
That's exactly right. Yep, you can do what you want.
That's so
if anyone has anything to say, I'll just say I'm a monster. Like, what do you know?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, totally. And I guess that it also sometimes it would include some improv, right? That you will improvise here and there just a little bit.
Yeah, well, so I mean, that's a great question. I think improv, to me, improv implies, well, it includes improv in the sense that I'm coming up with stuff as I go, you know, and it's not something where you can rehearse every single move, and you kind of have to save your energy a little bit, because when you do it take after take after take, it gets, you know, to be a lot. So in that sense, it is improv. Of course, I'm not speaking any words or anything like that, but I think pretty much really with all of the projects I've done, which there's a very exciting one coming up next year, but I can't talk about it, but it's very exciting. Even on this big exciting project that I just did, I really get to create, kind of come up with my own interpretation of what this monster is, you know, and I love that sort of creative aspect of it. It's not prescribed for me. It's something that doesn't exist. It's never existed, and I'm creating it out of nothing. You know? Yeah,
totally. Yeah. Now, how you usually prepare before a creature scene?
It's a lot of it's more physical preparation than anything else.
Totally.
You know, if I was to do an audition and the audition is only supposed to be 20 seconds long, if I do like a good 4-minute chunk of movement, by the last 20 seconds I'm fully in, you know, I'm sort of immersed in that character. That's kind of the prep work that I have to do before we're on set, you know, because I don't have the luxury of, you know, playing around on set. Like, I kind of need to know what I'm doing by that point. And you know, you don't want to waste everyone's time. So I think it's just finding what's unique about the way this I wanted to say person, they are a person, kind of monster, moves, you know. And as I mentioned as well, I tend to empathize with every monster that I play. So while everyone else thinks that they're horrible because they go around chopping up and, you know, slicing and dicing people and chasing them, I see them for who they really are inside. Yeah. So yeah, I love my monsters.
So cool. That's so cool. So you try to humanize them a little bit, right?
Well,
or monsterize them. Yeah, I think that's
monsterize them. Yeah, I don't know if humanize is right, because then you're making them less of a monster, and the whole point is that you want to make them as much of a monster as you possibly can.
Totally.
You know.
Totally. Yeah.
But I do think it's more interesting, generally speaking, when there's a depth to the monster. You know, I don't think monsters are just these sort of shallow. I mean, you can play them that way, but I think just like every human has depth, I think every monster has something a little deeper. You got to dig a little, you know. So
yeah, true that. And you know, also like in some of the horror movies, like they will provoke the monster. So
exactly. And I think what's really interesting is, I think the humans are the monsters a lot of the time. You know, it's actually, I think, in a lot of I think in a lot of movies, the point potentially that you could, you know, get out of it, that they might be trying to make, is that the monster isn't who you think. You know, sure, this thing looks and acts like a traditional idea of a monster, but who's really acting like a monster? Like, what are the humans actually doing? How are they treating each other? You know, it's the human that's really the monster. Yeah. And that's another reason why I love my monsters.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
they're so misunderstood.
Yeah, that just got me thinking. But it is interesting. Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I got something to think about later on. That's cool.
Woohoo!
yeah, totally. Now, what are some? Now, do you sometimes come up with a design of a creature, or you just go and they tell you like, this is a creature?
No, so the special effects makeup artists and, you know, the director and producer, they're always sort of the visionaries of what the monster will look like, and you know, sort of the prosthetics and yeah, I guess just the concept of the monster. I have sometimes been able to collaborate a little bit, and you know, I've had a little bit of experience now in prosthetics and so on, so sometimes if I know something's not going to work, or I'm not so sure that that's going to be the best way to achieve something, you know, maybe I can ask the question, but obviously I need to be careful about that because that's not my job. I'm just there to get into the prosthetics, so but yeah, sometimes I get to collaborate a little bit, and certainly when, you know, when I'm going through 5 hours worth of makeup, you know, sometimes I'll there'll be an element of collaboration for sure, but yeah, it's the makeup artists that are honestly brilliant.
Totally. Yeah, those guys deserve like a huge shout out to how they can come up with this monstrosity.
Without them, I would just look like a very strange person.
Yeah, totally. But you know, sometimes, like sometimes, I mean, of course, it depends on the project, right? Because it would be like these horror movies in which kind of the monster or the villain doesn't have like too much prosthetics, you know, but it's just like super scary, you know, like so yeah, I do think that sometimes it depends on the project, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the guys who do the makeup, they're the rock stars.
And if I may, I noticed that one of my favorite makeup artists has joined the conversation, Chris Osorio. He's the one that originally originally worked with on my very, very first monster project, and we did like a ton of projects together after that. So I just wanted to shout out to him and say how talented he is, and thank you for getting me into the monsters in the first place.
That's so amazing, and let's give him an epic shout out. So
yes. Yay! Chris Osorio.
That's so cool. Now, like, what are some of the challenges that someone might have when they start doing creature work?
It's a lot harder than it looks. I think it's really easy to say, oh, all you need to do is sit there for 5 hours and then you just need to like walk around and be a monster. I can do that. There's a little more to it than that. Yes, you need to obviously be able to have, you know, sit there for however many hours, and you know, for me, actually, one of the more difficult parts is not so much the application, but getting it off at the end, because I have very dry skin, and everything sticks to me. So it takes longer than I think it usually would take to sometimes remove things. And sometimes it can be, you know, a little trying, but I think if someone were to be starting out, I think it's really important to not neglect working on the physical, developing your physical vocabulary, or the different types of things that you can do, so that it doesn't all sort of look the same, and making sure that you are really showing off the prosthetics, and that you are taking what you've been given by the makeup artists and the producers, and kind of showing off that, you know, that's what your job is. So I think that's really important. I think there are definitely moments where I recently had a full mask prosthetic, and the head was fairly heavy. There were definitely moments where I kind of just had to go into myself a little bit and say, you know, I'm gonna be fine. We're getting through this, and kind of take a moment to yourself. That is definitely something that happens, and I think you need to be aware of that. And you know, if it's not for you, that's okay. But just know that it's potentially going to be more difficult than you expect, and you know, be ready for it. The mental part of it. It's really it's more of it's like it's a what do you call it? It's a marathon. You know, there's a very just kind of mentally overcoming part to it, where you have to be able to continually, you know, talk yourself through it. So
yeah, totally. Yeah. How cool is that? Now, at the moment, what has been some of the highlight moments in your career?
Definitely this project I just did, and I'm going still working on, but
that's so cool.
I'm not sure if I can say very much, so I'm not going to.
Don't say it. No, don't say it.
Yeah.
You don't want to.
But it's definitely the most exciting thing that has come across my path, I think. And the people I'm working with, I am extremely honored and happy to even be known by them, let alone to be working with them. And I still can't really believe that happened and is happening, so that's really cool. I think a bunch of actually the projects that I've worked with in the last couple of years have been it's been a really good trajectory. That's a hard word to say. The last couple of years, you know, with Mira, as you mentioned. And then separately for Monsters, my background is actually classical theatre, and I really love Shakespeare. And so, you know, I can never go past playing Lady Ingham. I've played her a couple of times in the Scottish play, and a couple of Shakespeare plays, and I really enjoy Greek tragedy. So those are all kind of great things as well for me. So it really depends what we're talking about. There's quite a few things I really, really love to do.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Now, what's your approach? I mean, what's the goal that you try to achieve in every creature performance that you have?
Well, to bring life to the words on the paper, and to honestly, I just want to make the director happy. If I've made the director happy, I'm happy. But yeah, I think really bringing that character, whether it's a monster or a human, just really fully expressing who they are and really understanding what the writer's intention is. You know, I think the original intention is something to really focus on and be very aware of. So yeah, I think that's probably the goal in a lot of the cases. And just you know, playing your objective, obviously, typical actor speak, but what is the goal of the character, and doing everything, you know, using various negotiating tactics to get that goal.
Yeah. Plus, I think also scaring people, it is also like a plus, right?
Oh, being able to scare people? Absolutely.
Yeah, I would like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
cool.
People
don't like to talk to me when I'm in my makeup.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know. Not sure.
Yeah. That's so funny though. Yeah, that's so cool. And I think that it must be kind of surreal, right? If you are like in your full makeup and then you're talking about some regular stuff, and then someone's passing by, like, what the, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, you're in this monster outfit, and a normal human voice comes out.
Yeah, and then like, what?
Wait, what? What's happening?
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Now, if you could describe your career at the moment on a movie or a TV show, what would be the title of it?
Maybe I'll just go with my little thing that I have on my Instagram. Why princess when you can monster?
Like it, yeah. Then if at some point you're gonna make your biography, you have the title already.
Exactly.
Now I wonder, like, what drives you? I mean, we're talking from having an MFA in acting from the American Repertory Theater Institute of Harvard, to be graduated from the Conservatory at Stella Adler Studio, to complete a 3-month residency at the Moscow Art Theater of Russia, to be involved in so many movies since 2005, to be also in Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, and also to do like so many amazing creature work. So tell me, like, what motivates you? Like, what makes you to keep working and building your awesome career here?
Well, you've made me sound wonderful, so thank you. But no, it's just, what motivates me is just that I love acting. I'm nothing amazing or special. It's the same thing I think that motivates every actor, that just keeps going and going. You know, a lot of people will find that they can do something else, and so they'll start doing that and stop acting, and I think that that's great, that they found something that makes them happy. For me, nothing else does. It's like, it's a drug, and I need the drug. So yeah, I wish I had a more interesting, you know, philosophical answer for you, but it's just because I love it.
I love it. I love it. It's simple and it's nice. And you know what? If I can describe your career without words, I will have to use this.
Wow, thank you. I don't know
totally.
what that was, but it sounds great.
Yeah, totally. Because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you have done like so many awesome work here. I mean, and you can totally, I mean, everybody can totally tell that you love it, because you put it like so much passion on it, and it's just really cool. And the fact that you can scare people and sometimes give them nightmares, that is also like a plus, you know. That's a badass. I mean, you're badass here, and yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, I am super. Yeah, I'm speechless of how much work you have done. I mean, and as you just said, that you love it, but us, the audience, we appreciate and we love your work. So please keep doing work like that, because we definitely need more awesome people like you in this world for sure, and especially right now, especially with this whole craziness around with the pandemic and everything. So keep up scaring the living shit out of us, because that's a good thing.
That's so kind of you. Thank you. Thank you for saying I'm scary. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
one of the best compliments anyone's ever given me. It's to say I'm a monster.
It is amazing. It is amazing. And I mean, besides also the creature work, I mean, you are definitely a super talented actress. And yeah, just
very nice to say.
Keep working with that. And also, thank you so much for those who are tuning in. And also make sure that you are following Lize in all of her social media. Normally, what I would say is for you to click. I mean, if you're watching this on the podcast, watching this on the YouTube video or listening on the podcast, yes. Normally, I would suggest to put pause, hydrate, and then follow her. Leave a million likes here and there. Share all of her work. I mean, spread the voice that we have here. Badass actress here, and then come back for sure. And before I send you off, I need to send you off again in an epic, badass, kick-ass way. So.
Wow, it's
totally,
so good.
you deserve this. Yeah, totally, you deserve this and a lot more. So.
Oh, that's so kind. Thank you so much, and thank you for reaching out. It was really nice chatting with you.
Yeah, totally. So keep having an amazing rest of the evening for you. Yeah.
Yep.
And I'll see you in the next one.
All right, you too. Thanks so much, Dad.
Bye.
Bye-bye.